Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be going over and talking about the Dior Sauvage line. I have not talked a lot about Dior Sauvage. It's one of those fragrances I feel like where people love it, but they also hate it. And I have some opinions that I want to share with you guys. I have a lot of the line here in front of me. I don't have everything, but I do have quite a few. So I am going to be going over the different options, the eau de toilette, the eau de parfum, and the new Elixir, and I'm going to share my thoughts with you guys. So let's just jump into it. I am kind of looking at this as like my fragrance reviewer coming of age, my fragrance reviewer orientation. I need to talk about Sauvage before I've officially made it. First one that we're going to talk about, I just have a sample, is the first release, the original eau de toilette, which came out in 2015. It's really wild to think that 2015 was almost 10 years ago. You know, I'm sure a lot of you guys already know about the DNA of Sauvage. The biggest complaint about the eau de toilette is that the opening can sometimes come off a little metallic, and I can definitely see it. It is a little artificial, and it makes your nose tingle a little. Very simple DNA. There's bergamot, there's lots of pepper, there's lavender and vetiver and patchouli. Pretty simple, pretty standard. This one is very loud and very long lasting, and it's a little artificial. I'm not really loving it off the top. I definitely think that this one would be more for a younger guy, maybe like a high schooler, but it is very kind of juvenile, very young. I'm gonna let it dry down a little and then I will revisit. So next, I'll talk a little bit about the eau de parfum. I don't have a sample of this one, sadly. This one came out a couple years later in 2018. Pretty much has the same DNA, it just adds a little bit of vanilla, which kind of gives it this sweetness, which just smelling the EDT, it definitely needed something to kind of balance this extreme sharpness. And it also adds a little bit more dimension in the EDP. It has star anise, it has nutmeg. So like I said, just more dimension. Now we'll smell the parfum. Another little baby sample. So this one was released shortly. Wow, I can definitely smell the difference between this one and the EDT. Big time, big difference. But this one came out a year later after the eau de parfum in 2019. I can tell you now, I really like the smell of this one. It's definitely very different than the EDT. But sadly, this one is said to have the absolute worst performance out of the Sauvage line. But this one has some mandarin orange, it has sandalwood and tonka bean and vanilla. It's really nice, I like it, but I want to compare it with the Elixir because I don't think, just based off of the note listing, that it's gonna have as much oomph as the Elixir. But I definitely 1000% prefer this over the eau de toilette. The only issue is the performance. I can definitely see the eau de toilette being beast mode, like nuclear, lasting forever, just because of how artificial it smells. But yes, I definitely prefer the scent of the parfum. Okay, now let's spray. The last one, the newest release in the Sauvage line, and that is Dior Sauvage Elixir. This one just came out in 2021. Ooh, okay. Was not expecting that. This one is known to be the best performing in the line. Ooh, really spicy. This one has nutmeg and cardamom and a licorice note. It has patchouli and cinnamon. Definitely more of this kind of oriental vibe going on with this. This one I'd say is definitely the most unique in the line. Like really stands out from the rest of the line. The original DNA is definitely still there, that kind of really bright, fresh, bergamot, grapefruit vibe. It's definitely still there, but wow, there is much more dimension in this. As you guys know, I do a lot of like reacting to 80s fragrances. Like I have a whole playlist on this. It kind of smells a little old school. I don't know what it is in this. It's definitely much darker. It smells like old school meets new school, big time. It's kind of like a modern, old school fragrance. There's just something about this that I don't know if I totally love it. I think it might be the licorice. We're gonna let it sit for a second. So now I'll go back to the eau de toilette and the eau de parfum. Okay, so yes, in the EDT, as it's dried down, that metallic, really sharp, artificial smell is gone, and now it's just this kind of very pleasant, citrusy smell with a little bit of like slight spice, but nothing too crazy. More fruity, fresh than anything. And now the parfum. Yeah, see, I can already tell that the performance on this one is bad because I can barely smell it now. It's a very light fragrance, the Parfum, but I think that it is just kind of like a more toned down version of the Elixir and a little bit sweeter as well. And the Elixir, it almost has this kind of like green pine smell. Like it reminds me of a candle that I used to make that smelled like Christmas. It was called Fraser Fir. It kind of reminds me of that a little tiny bit with this like kind of oriental spice. I don't know. This is tough. I think I might prefer the scent of the Parfum better. I really like the scent profile of this. I really love the orange, the spicy orange in this, the tonka, the vanilla. The Elixir to me just smells more like Christmas. I don't know. Sometimes in fragrances, less is more. I think that with the Elixir, they're trying, there's too much going on in this, I think. Yeah, the Elixir is really pretty, but it's a little complicated. I guess I'd have to smell it on a man, smell it on my skin. I'm gonna spray it on my skin. Okay, I'm gonna spray the Elixir and the Parfum on my skin now really quick. So left hand, Parfum, can't get it mixed up. I definitely don't recommend the EDT. I think that it's cool if you're like in high school or something and you want like a first fragrance. I think it might be a good option for you. The Elixir is just so spicy. It just definitely smells more old school and it smells more festive, kind of like for the holidays, colder weather for sure. There's just something in this that's kind of putting me off of it. I definitely 100% prefer the Parfum out of all of these scents. That's my impression. That's my little mini review of Dior Sauvage. I never like sat down and compared them all together. So do I recommend Dior Sauvage to you guys? I don't love the Dior Sauvage line. I've said this before, but I know that a lot of people really like it. There's a lot of people that also really don't like it. I think that with the price point of designer fragrances, at least in this line, I mean, it's ridiculously expensive. I think you could do much better with your money. That's just my personal thoughts. I'm sorry, Dior, if you're watching. I think that Dior puts out a lot of other really amazing fragrances. I love their Privé line. I love their women's line of fragrances, but this one is just not, it's not doing it for me. I definitely like the scent of the Parfum the best. I love that orange vanilla scent, but even on my skin, it smells a little artificial. So I don't know, guys. What do you guys think about the Dior Sauvage line? Leave a comment below. Which one is your favorite flanker out of the line? I would love to know your thoughts. And if you like Dior Sauvage, let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.